What's going on, everybody? Cigar Show Tim here with another edition of Tobacco Talk, where I review a cigar and then I give you my thoughts on it in 4 key areas: flavor, draw, construction, and burn. Everything you want to know about that cigar, but it's from my palate's perspective, and then I rate it as to whether I think it's nub-worthy or not. So this cigar comes to me from Cigar Hound Dog, good brother of mine. Great meeting up with him when I'm able to. Funny, we've only met up with each other out of our state. Go figure, when he lives only like 25, 30 miles from me. But the review comes courtesy of him. This is a cigar that he absolutely raves about, so why not review it and go through it together? This review is on the Patoro Terre Blanche. You can see it right there. Very classy, simple, elegant primary band. It's got the letter P on it with the star above it, and then it says Terre Blanche on the secondary band right there. It's an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper. But I'll get into the blend, the size, all that wonderful stuff in just a minute here. But if we're going to review it, there's only one thing left to do. Let's light it up. All right, as you can see, I went with my usual straight cut right there, just shaved a little bit off the top. This is a 5.5 by 56. They call it a Gordo size for this manufacturer. And on the cold draw, lighter notes, get the honey graham cracker, the sweetness, light wood, things like that. So let's toast her up. All right, upon initial light up, picking up very pronounced light cedar wood. There's a sort of a smoky toasted kind of note that's in there as well. Sort of like a hay note, a really light hay note that's in there, but mostly just sort of that cedar wood kind of note. And there's a little bit of like a creaminess that's in there as well. Oh, I'm going to smoke through the first third. When I come back, I'll let you know the blend on the cigar, how it's been treating me, anything else I think you might need to know. And, well, we'll see if it lives up to Matt's high accolades. All right, let me show you the burn here at the end of the first third. Right here, just a little bit of a wave to it. Nothing really at all, though. Just a hint right there, if at all. Okay, let's talk about the blend on this cigar. As I mentioned, this is a 5.5 by 56 according to the cello that was on there. So that's the size of this particular one. They do call it a Gordo. The blend on it, it is an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper. It's actually, the wrapper color is Claro. And the binder is Dominican, and the fillers are Dominican, and they are made, manufactured by the Augusto Reyes factory down in the Dominican Republic. So, flavor notes in the first third. Well, let me just say the construction has done absolutely, I mean, it's just been phenomenal. So the ash, I tapped it off. First ash was probably a good 1.5 inches long, and then it's building up again. So doing very, very well with construction. But the flavor notes in the first third, that cedar wood is still the most prominent flavor. The creamy note follows right behind it. And there's a really nice, subtle, creamy nuttiness that's in there as well. Yes, I just mentioned cream twice, but there's like a creamy nuttiness, almost like a cashew note is sort of what I'm gonna label it as. Very, very smooth, very mild in its complexity in terms of like strength of the depth of flavors and all those kinds of things. I would say it's probably mild plus to medium in terms of body and how deep and rich those flavors are. Strength wise, I would say that this is probably a mild plus. Very, very mild so far, but doing very, very well. I am enjoying it. I am definitely understanding a little more about Hound Dog's palate as I go through this, and appreciating his palate, because I am a mild plus to medium plus cigar enthusiast myself, and this so far is treating me quite nicely. So I'm going to jump into the second third. When I come back, I'll let you know any more information I find on this particular cigar, and of course the flavor notes, strength, all those wonderful things. Oh, and the draw on this is doing phenomenally well. No problems with it whatsoever. So here's to the second third. All right, let me show you the burn here at the end of the second third. A little bit of wave to the burn now. Not perfectly straight. Okay. Let's talk about flavor notes in this second third. So the cedar wood is still the most prominent flavor note that's in there. That creamy cashew nuttiness is still there as well. but there is a little bit of a white pepper bouncing back and forth between a white and a black pepper that's coming into the profile pretty significantly in the second third. As the first third ended, I wondered if I picked it up, but I didn't say anything about it. It definitely does come in the second third. But the creaminess that's in there is also a little bit of like a chocolate, kind of milk chocolate creamy note that's in there as the second third rounds out. And really interesting with the light cedar wood, with the creaminess, the nuttiness, the creamy sort of milk chocolate note that's in there, and the pepper that's in there. Really interesting combination, but really savory, really nice. Strength on this is still at a medium plus for me. It's not a medium minus at all. The draw has stayed pretty much right on for me. I did have to trim the cap again, only because I was still starting to get a little bit of a tar buildup, and that's just on me because the initial cut that I didn't open it up enough, so that didn't happen. And for anybody that doesn't know, when you get tar buildup on your cigar, it just means that it is not cut enough to allow proper airflow. Even though the draw was very nice, there wasn't proper airflow. The tobacco heated up, got a little bit of tar buildup. That's how it takes place. So very enjoyable in the second third. I will jump into the final third and see what my final verdict on this is. So far, it has treated me well. Draw's doing well. Strength, again, is still at a medium or a mild plus. And I would say in terms of body, it's probably a medium bodied in terms of the depth of all of those flavors and the richness of them. So let's go to the final third. When I come back, I will let you know about any changes in the flavor profile. And of course, I will let you know whether I think this is nubworthy or not. All right, let me show you the cigar here at the end of the final third. You can see right there, burn line is pretty much dead straight. The wrapper did start to unravel just a little bit after I took off the primary band, unfortunately, but it has not taken away from the experience whatsoever. All right. Let me do one correction. So I looked at the cello again with my glasses on, and it's actually a 5.5 by 58, not 56. Those numbers were small, but it's 5.5 by 58. They call it a Gordo again. And the MSRP on this is $18, not an entry-level price point, not, I would say, a luxury price point either. I'd say middle of the road, but on the higher end of the middle of the road price point. So flavor notes as the cigar wraps up. That pepper note definitely developed a little bit more. You notice it on the tip of the tongue. It's much more of a pronounced black pepper now. And when you retrohale, you do get a little bit of that pepper coming through on the retrohale. Nothing crazy spicy, nothing that's going to burn your nostrils whatsoever. But the pepper's there. The cedar note is still there. It has fallen back. The creamy note has taken much more of a forefront with that sort of creamy milk chocolate note that's in there. Very nice. So you've got a little bit of the cedar wood. You've got that creamy milk chocolate note. The nuttiness is really pretty much gone, unfortunately. I love nuttiness in cigars and really enjoyed it while it lasted for this one. And so those are the main flavor notes that are in this final third. This cigar, for being predominantly a Dominican cigar, honestly smokes much more like Nicaraguan tobacco, which I was really surprised by. There is a little hint now on the long finish of some earthiness that's in there as well, coming in on the really long finish. But it smokes, profile-wise, much more like a Nicaraguan tobacco cigar would, other than the earthiness that's there now. But the pepper note that's in there, some of that nuttiness, all those different things are pretty typical of Nicaraguan tobacco. So it's really interesting in this one to have it come out in the Dominican tobacco, but very, very enjoyable because I love Nicaraguan tobacco. That is the region that I tend to gravitate towards the most. I love Dominican tobacco, and so it's really interesting with the two of them. Flavor-wise, I would have guessed it was Nicaraguan, but it is Dominican. Very good cigar overall. The strength on this, I would say, still ended at a mild plus. It doesn't even touch into medium minus for me, so definitely much more on the mild end if you are a newer cigar enthusiast. The strength on this is not going to be too strong for you at all. I would say it's still a medium-bodied in terms of depth and richness of the flavors that are in there. And the draw has done very well. No more issues with the tar buildup, nothing like that whatsoever since I recut the cap. And the construction on this has been absolutely incredible the entire time. I mean, borderline flawless from the ash hold to the construction to the burn line, all those different things. It has performed very, very well. So, do I think this is a nubworthy cigar? I absolutely think this is a nubworthy cigar. At an $18 price point, this isn't something that I would routinely keep in my humidor personally, just with the price point. But, you know, from the experience, the burn, the draw, the flavor profile, everything, this speaks really well to my palate. And I can understand a little more of Hound Dog's palate now and how he and I, on the lighter end of things, have a very similar palate, which is really, really nice because it gives me an idea of some stuff that I can send his way. Hound Dog, heads up. I'm going to send some stuff his way that I think are going to fit into his palate, hopefully, in his wheelhouse pretty well. Definitely a nubworthy cigar. I do recommend you check this one out. If you do see it or go online, it is available at a number of online locations and retailers. Go and search it out for yourself. That's as much as I can tell you. But nubworthy cigar, absolutely. Hound Dog, brother, thank you so much for sending this out to me. I can understand why you rated this so highly last year. And from my research and looking through, this cigar originally came out in 2021, so it's been out for a few years now, and I had not heard of Patoro until Hound Dog mentioned it when he was reviewing the cigar back quite a few months ago now, and how he scored it so high. It's a brand that I'm definitely going to look into with how it has fit my palate as well. But if you've had the Patoro Terre Blanche, go ahead and put some comments down below. I'd love to know your take on it. Did you get similar flavor notes to mine? Did the pepper ramp up more for you than it did for me? You know, there are probably a number of reviews out on this now. I didn't look. I didn't want to because I don't like to sort of taint my perspective or flavor notes or anything like that on a cigar while I'm reviewing it, or before I reviewed, I should say. And let me know if you have had this or if it sounds like something you would be interested in checking out. Again, $18 price point. You've got to decide for yourself whether you want to pick up a single, a 5-pack, a box, whatever you want to do. But Hound Dog, greatly appreciate it. That's going to do it for this edition of Tobacco Talk. Enjoy your cigar journey, everybody. I'm Cigar Show Tim. As always, I'll see you.